Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Barbeno's World. We haven't built a farm recently, so I think that's definitely what I'm gonna do today. And there is something that I need a lot of, and I don't have a farm for yet. That's actually Nether Wart, so yeah. One method of Nether Wart farming that you might see quite often is something like this, where the player's moving around on a rail track or something, and they've got to place down all of the Nether Wart, and then the Nether Wart gets broken by pistons or something as you go by. But the thing about this is you're going to need to make it really, really big, and it's going to take a lot of resources to build something like this. Although this has the advantage of being fully automatic. The other option, and probably the option that I like a bit better, is having a semi-automatic farm that you have to manually plant all the Nether Warts for. But when you press a button at the top, it releases some water from trapdoors or some other enclosure, and all of the Nether Wart gets pushed down into the hoppers at the bottom. Okay, that kind of broke. Okay, I've added in a pulse extender over there, and I have dropped down the hoppers. Now this should work a little bit better. Yeah, that's good. So basically, all that we need to do now with this design is scale it up until something a lot bigger. This isn't the exact sort of design that I want to make, I just quickly built this with some commands, but I do want to make something quite big on this size level just so that we can get a ton of Nether Wart in a few harvests. And I think this is going to be pretty fun to build because this reminds me of when I started playing Minecraft. This sort of farm was the very first automatic farm that I learned how to build, and I used this for wheat and potatoes, which this also works for. For this build, the main thing we're going to need is soul sand, an absolute ton of it. For every single Nether Wart plant, we're going to need to have a piece of soul sand below it. So I'm just going to take as much as I have. And other than that, the only thing that we're really going to need a lot of is just random building blocks, and I'm going to use a bunch of polished black stone that I have for that. Now that I've got everything, I just need to find a good spot for the build, and I don't really care where it is. It just needs to be a big, open, flat biome. So anywhere around here would work. I guess it would be nice to have it at least a little bit away from my main areas. I think this spot in the desert biome right here is going to be pretty good, because if we build in a desert biome, I'm going to need to clear out a bunch of sand, and it's always nice to get sand. If you want to get your bearings a little bit, the desert that I picked is kind of right next to my ice collecting area where I destroyed those glaciers a while back. Okay, so here's the plan. We've got this big platform up there for a start, and then we're going to have water streams coming down from all four sides of that, and those are going to run down through plots of farmland that go out a bunch of blocks all the way out to here or something, and then we'll have 4 separate collection areas for the Nether Wart. I'm going to go grab some scaffolding, and then we can start on the outlines of these platforms. There we go. It's going very nicely. I've set down the outline for how big I want each of the farming platforms to be. And we've actually got 10 of them. They're each 7 blocks wide because water can flow 8 blocks. So if there's solid water at the top here, it'll flow down here. And then just as it reaches the end, it'll be able to make another one here. Alright, I think now is going to be the main grindy part where I actually have to place down all of this soul sand. So, yeah, let's do a time lapse. Enjoy. Well, I have some bad news. Unfortunately, the time lapse botched. So, I don't have that to show you, but fortunately, I did end up finishing that farm. Even though it took me quite a few hours, we can fly over and take a look at it. Here it is. It's really large actually, and I encased all of it in the polished black stone. It looks pretty cool despite it being so simple. This thing actually takes like a good 20 to 30 minutes to plant, but when you harvest it, it produces a good few shulkers of Nether Wart. And that's what I'm setting up right now, is a system to be able to harvest this entire thing quite easily. Basically, how it works is we've got a ton of trapdoors along here that are holding back the water, And up here we have redstone blocks, and these redstone blocks are powering the trapdoors, and that's hopefully keeping them open. And then these sticky pistons are gonna pull up the redstone blocks when they get unpowered, and that's gonna close all of the trapdoors, which is gonna let all of this water flow down to the area down there. I will show you all of this in action soon, but since we still have a little bit more time before all of the nether wart grows up, let's take a look at the collection area. It's not much to look at, but this is basically the entire thing. The items end up in this water stream, and they all get pushed to the middle on top of those two hoppers. And when they're on top of those two hoppers, they'll slowly filter through into this chest, which is accessible right here. And we've got the same thing basically on all four sides, with a slightly different setup depending on how high up the ground is. In case you're interested, this farm is 158 blocks long in the Z direction and in the X direction. And this is what it looks like underneath. It's just a big area of the desert that I covered up with the farm, and I lit it up afterwards. Alright guys, all of the wart has finally grown, and I think we should be good to test it now. So let's go to the middle and install the triggering mechanism. Basically what I'm just going to have is two plates that you can step on and then step off of to trigger the system. The replay mod is running, put the pressure plates in, and let's step on it. Okay, we have had some minor complications, and I think what we're going to need to do is replace the triggering mechanism. As you might have seen, this entire central area filled up with water. I don't know how I didn't see this coming. All of the water leaked from the back of the chambers into this area, so I'll just fill it up with sand. Alright, I cleared out all of the water, and if we trigger the system again, we should be able to wash down all of these remaining items. Okay, so I'm thinking now all of the items should have been picked up by the hoppers and are in the chests now. So I'm just going to go around taking all of the items out of these chests and depositing them over here so we can tally up exactly how much we got. Okay, I've collected it all in these three chests here. We have just over 2 or 5.5 shulkers of nether wart, but the thing is now we've got to replant this, and that's going to take out a good chunk of the nether wart that we got. So I don't really know how much profit we made. The best way to find that out would just be to take all of the nether wart out of here and then use that to plant the farm again. So let's do this, and hopefully the time lapse doesn't fail. Okay, I'm done replanting everything, and honestly I'm kind of disappointed by the profits. We only ended up with just over 1 double chest of nether wart. That's really not going to cut it for mass producing, but it would take a really long time to build a bigger farm than this, so I think I'm just going to spend quite a few cycles AFKing at the farm for like an hour until all of the wart is grown, then I can flush all the layers and plant everything again. It's going to take a while, but if I want a lot of nether wart, that's probably my best option for getting it. Okay, I've AFK'd at the farm for a wee bit longer, and it seems to have grown up all the way again. So I guess I can do another harvest. Hopefully it doesn't flood this time. I've built some stopping walls here. Okay. Okay, I noticed something a little bit weird while I was collecting the Nether Wart from this harvest. We actually got quite a bit more this time, and I'm thinking the reason that last time I lost some is because the items were actually despawning. So I think that if I maybe add some more hoppers here or have some more chests to extract the Nether Wart out at the bottom, I should be able to get slightly faster rates. Alright, so now it's back to replanting. This is a little bit boring, but I do need to keep collecting Nether Wart because I want to go up to about 15,000 for a secret project. Okay, I think I'm almost at my goal of 15,000. So probably just 2 more harvests of the farm should do the trick. Alright, it's time for harvest number 1 of 2. This time I've installed some slightly higher walls and also some more hoppers at the bottom, just to kind of speed up the system and prevent any losses that we might be having. Yeah, it really doesn't look like many are getting stuck on the wall, which is good. Perfect. Okay, the farm's all grown up again. I think it's time for harvest 2 of 2. Okay, I'm very bored of planting netherwort now. But I think I've finally got enough. Let's take a look. That's 23 shulker boxes, or almost 40,000 netherwort right there. So yeah, that's definitely gonna be good enough for me for a while. And if I ever need more, I did replant this area, and I can just come harvest it whenever I have time. Something I can also probably take a look at that would be cool is my statistics, because I planted a ton of netherwort. Probably planted and harvested this farm like 6 or so times in this episode. So let's see how much netherwort we've done. Nice. This is actually more than the blackstone slabs that we did in our spawn area. So, okay, it's gotten to the point where netherwort is my most placed block that I actually did manually, and I just AFK'd for doing this concrete powder. Also, it's kind of cool to see that white wool is on this list from the map art we did in the last episode. And soul sand, which is also mostly from this farm. Now it's just time to pack up shop and head back to my base. Okay, I finished bringing everything back to my base, including a bunch of soul sand and some sand, which is definitely going to come in handy. But if you're still watching at this time in the video, I think I can finally show you what the whole massive netherwort farming operation is about. You might have guessed already that I am going to be building something that uses a ton of red nether bricks, and yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. A really big build using a lot of red nether bricks. Each nether brick uses 2 bits of nether wart. I've already got the schematic loaded in here, and here it is. I'll put it up now. There I go. So basically my plan is to build a really big fantasy dragon over my whole village area. This is going to be a really large project, and the main resource it's going to use is over 7,000 of the red nether bricks. But I'm hoping that now that we've got all of that netherwort, we should be needing this. As for the whole design for the dragon, I guess I'll talk about that later when we're actually building it, but for now we just need to collect all of those resources. So I think I'm going to build a temporary storage area on top of this hill, which is going to be between the feet of the dragon, and I'm just going to collect all of the resources I need and put them in some chests here. Actually, I really don't think we're going to need too many resources for this. Everything should fit in these chests, and the dragon isn't as big as it looks because most of it is hollow, and a lot of its size comes from its wings, which are pretty thin. So these 3 are going to be the nether brick chests, which I'm going to fill up with red nether brick. Unfortunately, I'm going to run out of these nether bricks, so I'm going to need to collect some more soon. I think the best way to get more nether bricks, though, is just going to be to barter with piglins. So I'm completely gonna clear out my gold stash and head over to my bartering farm. I think this is gonna be like a personal record for the most amount of gold I've bartered at once. This is quite a lot. I even had to add in these 3 extra chests up top for more gold. Okay, I'll see you when this is all done. It usually takes like a full day to do this much. Alright, I did most of it off camera, but I have finally gotten all of the red nether bricks that I need. 2.5 double chests of them. And that's going to be just enough, and we won't have too much extra once we're done, because this is a really big pain to collect. And in the miscellaneous chest, we've just got a few other blocks. We need a little bit of red terracotta, which I can mine up in the mesa biome. We need some obsidian, which I can get from my piglin farm, nether wart blocks, which I can get from the nether, and then the rest is just a couple blocks for the eyes. Alright, here's the red terracotta. Here's the obsidian. And here are the nether wart blocks. Finally, we've got the eye pieces here. And I think that should actually be everything. So now that we're done with that really big grindy project, I really want to get back into building with that dragon. But I don't think I'm going to be able to start on that in today's episode, because we spent a really long time basically just collecting these few chests of resources, but that included building the big nether wart farm, and yeah, it's really good. So hopefully you enjoyed this latest episode of Barbeno's World. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.
Barbeno's World, Barbeno's World.